skate date.
Skate date.
It's our first episode. It's very official.
It's a big deal. That means it's going to be a hot mess.
We're very excited about it. We're excited that you're here. And let's just jump right into it.
I can't wait to look back at this and be like, what were we thinking?
I can't wait. It's going to be great.
So go on this journey with us.
Yes. So let's introduce ourselves, shall we?
Okay, well, I'm Chev, a 33-year-old fat, black, queer roller skating diva. I stand for body positivity, girl power, and smashing the patriarchy.
My name's Rebel, and my last name is Rouse Her, like the lesbian kind, but also like Rouser, like getting people amped up via my public speaking. I really like earrings, and I'm bad at cooking, and I thoroughly enjoy hats.
Is that why you're wearing a big hot pink hat right now?
Yes, it is. I just got it off of Amazon, even though screw you, Jeff Bezos, but it's really beautiful. I like these earrings too, but I think I'm going to take them off because, no lie, I think that the microphone is picking up the sound of my earrings clacking against my...
Clackly clack, like the squeak squeak of my church.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is an ASMR podcast. Okay, so now that we've introduced ourselves, I think that we should introduce She's All Fat Fashion. Thanks, Sophie and April. We want to introduce each other to you. So, babe, why don't you go first?
Rebel is like the cool side of a pillow on a hot summer day.
Chev is like fresh sourdough loaf from your friend that has major bread girl energy.
She's that feeling you get when you're skating up a hill and you want to give up, but you find your second win.
Chev is a physical embodiment of that feeling that you get when you come home after a really, really long shift at work and there are like 20 packages waiting for you.
Rebel is that feeling you get when your crush says hi to you for the first time and your only regret is that she wasn't your first and only crush.
Oh, that's so sweet. We should have ended with that one, but I have one more. It's like taking a bath with crystals and a CBD glitter bomb, but you don't know, but then it's one of those glitter bombs that actually has a surprise on the inside, and it's a ring, and it's your favorite gemstone.
Whoa, that was a lot. Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
And thank you, She's All Fat.
Thanks, She's All Fat, for the inspiration for that little introduction of ourselves segment. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about us, we're gonna jump right into our fake ads. This is the section where we hope that one day these episodes will be sponsored, but until then, we're gonna make up our own sponsorship deals. So today, we would like to introduce you to Anxiety.
Have an important meeting, drink Anxiety, and be late because of exploding diarrhea.
Drink Anxiety for being late or just not showing up at all.
Comes in flavors like
unknown caller, don't answer.
Yes, they are laughing at you.
And oh no, I waved at someone who wasn't really waving at me. I guess I'll jump into traffic. Anxiety. That could be your ad.
That could have been you. That could have been your product.
That could have been your product. Your product could be advertised here.
Do you hear these voices? Could have been sex operators, yet we're here podcasting.
This is the route we've chosen. Here's where we are at this point in our lives. Okay, so let's just jump into our first, main big theme of our first main episode.
If you guys didn't get it, it's the main part.
It's the main part.
Which we are calling
the real world.
The real world.
Real world.
Don't sue us, MTV.
Yeah, please. So this episode, we're going to talk about, you guessed it, anxiety. And anxiety in relationships.
Totally didn't have anxiety before jumping on here today.
Chev, the queen of anxiety, and Rebel, the queen of hiding anxiety, but actually also having anxiety.
Go, go, team shovel.
Anxiety.
Oh my gosh. So it's funny because I feel like I didn't really know what anxiety was until I got a little bit older, maybe out of high school. And once I understood what it was, I could look back to when I was even a child. I definitely had anxiety because I remember my dad making me cry because he would say, look in the phone book. Y'all probably don't know what a phone book is anymore, but look in the phone book.
They're very
and
large.
Call this place and ask them a question. And I would be like their little 9-year-old shove, like nervous about calling. And he'd be like, what's wrong with you? Just call them. And I would start crying because I was afraid of just the process, who would answer. I don't know. I had issues, apparently. So I definitely could say life made it worse. But just in the words of Lady Gaga, I was born this way.
You were born this way? I definitely think that my anxiety developed later on in my life. Like, I felt like I was a carefree child, everything was awesome, and then my world came crashing down, and then it was like, oh, anxiety, my only friend.
Anxiety, your best friend.
My best friend who's been with me ever since I came out of the closet. And ever since I broke away from the church, and ever since I left the cult.
Oh, wow. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Maybe you'll hear about all of those eventually. But yeah, I don't know. So definitely I know I've had it for a while. I did have to see, did you ever go to therapy for your anxieties?
I didn't go to therapy per se. I went to counseling sessions at church.
AKA church.
Yes.
Who needs a therapist when you got a pastor?
We couldn't afford therapy, and my mom is a pastor, and so it was very much like that was the kind of therapy that we believed in was the church's counselors.
Yeah, we couldn't afford it either, but my school, because I lived in suburbia at the time, offered free therapy when I was in elementary. And since my grandma was dying of cancer, I started exhibiting all these like extreme things. Like as soon as it was time to come home, even though I was already 10, I want to say, I was like wetting myself, which was like unusual for that age. All of a sudden I stopped hearing. So my parents took me to the doctor and there was nothing wrong with my ears. And they were like, okay, it's mental, so you need to seek help, basically. So they signed me up for this program, and in therapy, basically, they told my parents that it was a coping mechanism. So my body was exhibiting all these physical things because I didn't hear, so I wouldn't have to hear about the sickness. And I was wetting myself because I was the fear of going home. So it's just very animalistic, like fear and just soiling yourself and then like hiding it because of the shame. Yeah. So sometimes I think about it, like if my parents had their things more together and if like it was more normalized to talk about mental illnesses, that I probably would have had more help. Because like sometimes I look back at it and I'm like, that was seriously messed up. Like I should have had some more help for that. And I definitely struggle now because I know I need to go to therapy, and it's not good to self-diagnose yourself. You can know some things, but it's like I know the basics of like, this is definitely what I have, but I definitely need to like go figure it out, because I've definitely self-medicated to help it before with other people that have anxiety. But you shouldn't mess with that because you don't know if it's the right what's it called, prescription for you. Yeah. But like I've taken Ativan and stuff like that, but I don't know, like the counseling helped for a little bit, but definitely should have continued. Did counseling help with you?
I don't know. I was actually going to say, so interesting that you would say, because we've totally talked about this before, but I feel like I've never really put it into this context before. My sister has extreme anxiety. Like both my sister and my brother have really bad anxiety. And I think that's a reason why, for me, it was never something that my parents were too concerned with, because they thought, oh, she's better than like her siblings are doing. But that same thing that happened to you with like, you not being able to hear, that literally happened with my younger sister. Like my younger sister couldn't walk for a long period of time, and we took her to the doctor and it was absolutely nothing wrong with her. Like it was completely mental, and it was because she didn't want to reveal to our parents that she was sinning by having sex. And
the mind is a scary thing.
Mind is
Powerful.
a very scary thing, yeah. I definitely think that as I've become more aware of my anxiety, because I think for a while I didn't know what it was. And so I just would like act weird or have these like feelings that were very, very overwhelming feelings. And I think I would say even as recent as the past couple of years, really recognizing what those feelings are and realizing that it is anxiety and something that has happened because of trauma and because of, you know, my life experience. I think that's helped me more than any counseling that I've been to because I haven't gone to like therapy, which I probably should.
I definitely feel like, unfortunately, because we do live in America, healthcare, you have to have it, and you don't just have to have it, you might have it and it doesn't cover that. So the insurance I had before was like, we'll cover therapy, but only 3 visits. And it's like, what? I already know that there's many layers of this horrible onion that needs to be peeled back and things to be dealt with. And it's like, so you're going to cover 3 therapy sessions, and you're looking, last time I shopped around, it was like 100 to 500 a session. And it's like, okay, then you really got to start choosing, like, is it, like, I guess it's worth it, but definitely, like, can you afford it? Like, you might have to go every week, so it adds up.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. My college that I went to for undergrad offered some counseling sessions, but when I went there, it was like, I think I'm probably going to talk about my sexual assault. Like, I'm not going to talk about my anxiety. Like, that's so low on the list, and that sucks so bad. I honestly believe that everyone needs therapy. Like, we are definitely, like, a therapy positive household, but we're also a poor household, so we don't have the money to have therapy.
I don't know. And it's just like we think we have these other, well, we do. We have these other issues. But the thing is, either you have anxiety and these other things that happen that were triggers or like cause this baggage to grow more. Either it was like made the anxiety worse, or like you could have coped better, but your anxiety kept you from coping and dealing and managing it. So I think like it's really hard to, it's like, I remember feeling like that when our friend was like, if you need therapy for something that happened, I'll cover it. But my reasoning for saying no is because, like, I knew there were so many other bigger fish to fry, and that would unload everything else, and I couldn't even, like, focus on the one thing they were willing to, like, pay for. I was like, one session won't cut it, and then you're gonna, like, unload these other things.
Well, I think when you, like, open the door, too, you're like, oh, no, I've opened the door. Now I really need therapy. And it's like, I can't afford the continuous therapy sessions, but...
Yeah. But, okay, so let's talk about the first time that I had an anxiety attack while we were dating.
Okay. Sounds good.
So I'll set the scene. It was Pride.
It was Pride.
It was Rebel's first Pride.
It was my first Pride ever.
We had only been dating for
3 months. I had just come out to my family.
Yeah, and it was great. We got ready. We
went to like the Pride Festival itself.
Yeah, we were at the festival, and I saw that there was bull riding, and there was a really long line of people, crowds of people watching people on the bull.
I love bull riding.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
So I was like, oh my God, you should do it. And she was like, babe, you should do it too. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I don't think so. Like, at first I thought about it, and it was back and forth. Then I started getting really nervous. And it started with, like, my palms being a little sweaty. Started with, like, my heart beating pretty fast. And then it's, I don't know, it was just, like, too much. It was like, oh, like, right now I'm just like, thinking about it. But I don't know, it's just like all of a sudden every little noise around you is just like amplified, and you just like feel like everyone's paying attention to you. And we kept inching closer and closer. And then when I think you went first, right? Mm-hmm. And then so she gets off the bull, and in my head I already knew like I'm just not going to do it, but I wanted her to stop pressuring me. So what do you do when you're anxious? You're like, you'll just lie until you can escape the situation, make excuses. So there was like a little gate. And she was like, you gotta go. So I was like, okay, I'll try. So I get on, I'm trying, but I'm already shaky, and like I can't get on, and this like kid's trying to help throw me onto this bull.
This little kid that's like 5 years old.
I was like tin, and he's like, just step on my hands, get over it. And I'm like, already like, oh my gosh, I'm a lot of woman, little boy, like, you can't lift me up there. And then like, it was hard for me to get on, and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I tried to walk away, and Rebel blocked my way. So then it was like fight or flight, and I felt trapped. So automatically it goes like anger, and it's like, you're obstructing my way, and like I wanted to literally push you out of the way. Like I was just like, she's like the danger, and she's keeping me in danger. She does, like, therefore she is the enemy. Like that's what my mind said. And so
I had no idea
I literally had
on.
to like snap on her, and then like I started crying, and it was the first time I talked to her. I'm just like, you can't put me in those situations, like if I tell you no. And that's when I learned really like that you have to communicate, because I don't know, like, this is how I feel and this is what's happening. So like the worst thing to do is to like trap my way of escaping in that moment. Because then it was just like builds up and it got worse, versus just being like, okay, you're good. Because I think it's good to like not let someone's anxiety stop them from living life and trying new things. But I think once it's already full blown or like bad, you just gotta let it ride it out. How did you feel when it happened?
Well, I remember we were drinking, and so I was already feeling kind of like, yeah, like let's do everything, you know? And I just remember being like very confused as to why you were like, no, I don't want to, when you had been the person that was like, let's go do this. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, she's just nervous. Like, it's fine. Like, you can just do it. Like, and I'm very much of the philosophy that like, oh, if you're scared, just do it. Like, just get on it, you know? Like, just go for it. And, like, if you need someone to push you, and, like, then get that done, you know? And so I was kind of, like, it seemed like she was like, oh, no, like, it's fine, you know? Like, just kind of giving up. And so I was like, no, you can do it. Like, yeah. I got you. Like, I was trying to be your cheerleader. And definitely that came across in such a wrong way. And yeah, I just felt so bad afterwards, because I was like trying to help and then not knowing what was happening, and then feeling like I had fucked up so bad, you know?
Yeah, but then it's like you didn't. It was just like, I feel like that's why when it's either someone you're in a relationship with or just a friendship, you kind of have to let them know, like, hey, sometimes this happens, because what Rebel did is what anyone would do. Like, it's just like, it's just nerves, get over it. Like, it's fun, it's gonna be great. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, on the other hand, you're like freaking out because of the severity. So it's like, don't be afraid to open that line of communication.
I think that like that's a really common thing for people who don't have anxiety or don't have full-fledged anxiety to do, you know? Like, just say, hey, you can get over it. Like, mm-hmm. because a normal, like a, not normal, but like a not traumatized, not anxiety-ridden brain would naturally go, oh, we'll just push through it. Oh, we can get through this. It's fine. You're fine. You'll just wait a few minutes. You'll get over it, or just breathe. And it's like, yeah, that is not the solution.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes I think like early 20s, like I was going out way more, but I was also like drinking a lot. Like, it was like hang out at bars, and I wouldn't say like it became like alcoholism like my family, but I was definitely like a bar fly, because I knew like, oh, as long as I have like a shot in me, I'll be more natural and I won't freak out. Like, it would calm my nerves. So that was definitely like a coping mechanism. So I was a little more outgoing. And then once I was like over the bar scene, it was like, drinking's not like that much for me. Like, I don't really like have to drink. But then at the same time, like, I wasn't being as outgoing. And I think that's something else too, is like you start forming these dependencies to like help with it too. But then it's like anything new, I feel like I'll have anxiety, or sometimes I wake up with like high anxiety and it comes out other ways. Like, some people think just panic attacks, anxiety attacks, like I can't breathe and this stuff, but sometimes it comes out with like, especially after anxiety, like depression follows. Like, it's like, I always call it like the case of the saddies. So like that, or like anger, like it's all these, like anxiety can come out in anger too. So I think people think it's like one label, one symptom, and it's like, no, like this person might not be mad, they're just anxious in the moment, because like it's that whole I'm gonna die right now feeling. So like there's gonna be different ways you react to like feeling like you're in danger. Yeah. And I think when it comes down to it, that's what anxiety is. It's like you just feel like you're in danger, and a lot of times there's like no reason for it. You're not in danger. And one of the things that's helped me a lot, which is so funny, is like when we went to see that one movie, oh my gosh, what was it? It was with the guy that the speechwriter, and he dates Charlize Theron, who's like a politician.
Oh yeah.
What is that called?
What was that movie called?
I don't remember, but there's like a scene where like they're getting bombed, and she's like doing, or he has a.
It's Jonah Hill, right?
Not yeah, no. Not Jonah. You always call him Jonah Hill.
That other guy.
It's not Jonah Hill. You call him Jonah Hill every time, and that throws me off because then I'm like, I don't know. But anyways, Seth something.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah, Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron.
So, anyways, that movie. And then he starts having like a panic attack. And she's like, do this breathing exercise, and it's like breathe into 4 and like hold it for 4 and exhale through 4. And like one day I was just like, I wonder if that's real. And like I was kind of freaking out, and I was able to do that breathing exercise, and it actually helped. So like that was kind of my go-to, because there's been times like, especially at the old house, we used to live close to the beach, and so I would skate on my days off, and I would go to get coffee and my favorite fruit tart. But skating alone, like, would sometimes freak me out, because you feel like people are already looking at you because you're on roller skates. So I would try to, like, have some good tunes so I wouldn't worry about it. But sure enough, as soon as I started getting closer to my destination, my legs would start to feel like jello. And I would feel like I was barely breathing right. And I felt very, like, my hands jittering. Like, there's been times where, like, literally my body couldn't skate because my legs turned into noodles. And I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. And that makes me want to cry, because then I'm like, oh my god, my body is like failing, and it's like embarrassing. It can be too much, and sometimes I'll just bail. But like, I remember the last time I started feeling like that. So I skated around the corner before I went into the coffee shop, and I just did the breathing exercises for like a few minutes, and then my heart rate slowed down, and then I was like perfectly fine to go in. So I think like having like these tools to help you, whatever it is, that definitely has helped me like manage through life a little easier.
Yeah, and I think that as a partner, like, there's definitely been a learning curve for me. Like, I needed to realize that sometimes Shove will have emotions that have no connection to anything. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Like, I just have to, like, accept that. And so I'm a person who tends to just want to know the root of everything. Like, I want to know why emotions are happening, and I want to be able to solve the problems. And we've had to get to the point where, you know, she's sad, and I'm like, what's going on, babe? What's going on? And she's like, I'm just sad. There's no reason for it.
Her favorite question is like, what happened? And I'm like, nothing happened. And then I'm like, nothing has to happen. And then it's like, sex is like, I'm not mad at you asking the question. I'm mad that nothing happened. And I feel this way. Oh. So when she's like, what happened? I'm like, nothing has happened. It just is. Like, I'm like, it just is. And I want to like, just be like, oh, like, because there's nothing she can do. And I'm like, she's like, let's go do this, it's fine. And I'm just like, everything's tainted that day, and I'm just like, I can't. And it's like, but now I think like I'll just tell her like, oh, like, I'm having a bad day, like, it's just one of those days.
Yeah, and now I understand what that means.
But
so what are some things that like a person who's a partner of someone who has anxiety, or someone who's like a best friend who has anxiety, or maybe there's like a parent out there whose kid has anxiety, what would you recommend for people?
A lot of times you can't, like, don't just be like, nothing's wrong, you're fine. Like, you don't, not just saying like, you're fine, like, because that just makes you feel more like defensive, like, no, I'm not okay, or it makes you feel crazy. And I think just being like, it's okay, and we're gonna write it out, and just being present. So like for me, I remember seeing like this little cartoon, and it's like, it was like a couple, and one partner's like, I feel really anxious right now, and then so the partner gets in bed and makes like a blanket for it, and he's all like, well, we'll be here together, and like they just like lay in the blanket for it. And I think that's like so cute, because it's just like, just be near and be present, and don't ask 100 questions. Sometimes just saying like, just being like, hey, can I do anything for you today, or do you need anything, and just be there, really. That's definitely what I would say.
Yeah. And I definitely think, like, also not everyone has the same type of anxiety. Like, not everyone's anxiety exhibits the same behaviors. Like, I know my anxiety causes me to go into, like, manic mode. So, like, if I'm having an anxiety attack, like, the first time that you ever experienced me having anxiety was it that same summer? Was it later that summer?
I think it was that summer, yeah.
Yeah, later that summer, and I just went full rebel. Like, I was doing 10 crafts a day. Like, I was getting into all sorts of trouble that I should not be getting into, and then crying.
Well, it's the opposite, because I feel like my anxiety is when I have too much to do sometimes, or, like, new things I've never done before, and Rebel's anxiety is when there's not anything to do, it's too much downtime, or it's, like, the same repetition, same thing, like, there's nothing new happening. Like, if you're not stimulated, your mind's like, what's going on?
I need, like, at minimum 3 things to do per day. Like,
you should see her list. It's like, her list, she's all, like, color-coded and more than one page sometimes, and I'm like, you're stressing me out looking at your list.
But that actually calms me down.
Soothes her.
Yeah, so, like, every morning when I wake up, I make a to-do list, and that helps me straighten out my thoughts and makes me feel sane. Like, I know what I'm doing, and I know the order that I'm going to do it in, and I've, like, numbered it, and then I've starred the ones that I'm going to work on first or second, and then I color it based on what, like, genre in my life it is.
Type A personality.
Yes, I'm very much so a type A personality. But yeah, so.
But yeah,
and
I don't know. Yeah. And then there's, like, in roller derby, everyone calls them the bounce, because I feel like everyone, like, trust me, if you're in roller derby, you know what this is. But I feel like before a game, everyone's in the bathroom.
Everyone is having anxiety attacks, like, before roller derby.
Like, their bowels are literally just, like, exploding because they're so nervous. And it's just, like, a stage fright of sorts. But I don't know, there's all kinds of levels of anxiety. Like, definitely mine is manageable to the most extent. Some people literally can't leave their houses. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's a thing, but don't be afraid to talk about it. It happens. Yeah.
It happens.
It happens.
Do we have anything else to say about anxiety?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, so our next segment is the wheel world.
Willy.
It's where we talk all about roller skating and what's going on in the roller skate community.
There's always something going on.
There is always something. We figured that this week we would talk about...
I almost spilled that.
Oh my gosh, are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured that this week we would talk about price gouging. Should we give a little background?
Oh, yes. So, if you didn't know, roller skating's trending like a mofo.
It's very popular right now.
Yeah, so shortage in roller skates.
Yeah, there's a shortage. Everyone is sold out, and so
all the online markets where it's like resell,
people are buying really, really, like, not expensive roller skates and then selling them at very high prices to new roller skaters who don't know anything about how much roller skates should cost or the quality of certain
like
roller
on
skates.
Mercari, Facebook
resells, Marketplace,
eBay. So like, let's say you have a pair of Impalas, which usually price for like $100.
$100.
Yeah.
$99.
You'll go on and see them for like $300
or $600.
Yeah, and they'll be lollies. And then, what did someone told me, like, something crazy, like someone paid $1,000 for a pair of lollies.
Which is just wild. Like, what?
Yeah, and I feel like
lollies are usually $339.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And it's like crazy because you're like, first of all, okay, I get it. You want to skate. Skating's like cool right now. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, you got $1,000 to pay for some skates? First of all,
you should buy some fancy skates.
Woo, like, I'm proud, like, nice. But second, I feel like when I started skating, like, I was like, I gotta know what's the good skate. I gotta know, like, everything. Like, it's crazy that, like, you would just be like, oh, cool, they have them, just pay that much. Like,
well, I think that people are desperate for skates. Like, they've been watching this online community and they're, like, fascinated by it. They see it on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram. They're like,
Yeah.
I gotta have skates, and they've been waiting for a long time, and so then the only things they can get their hands on.
I guess I get it. I'm
inflated.
just like a very patient person. So
I'm not, so I understand.
You would be one of those people that
I would be
pay.
one.
Think about little Rebel before she even knew shove, and she's like, I'm gonna start skating and I'm gonna join roller derby. I know nothing about skates. I don't even know how to tighten my wheels. And you were just like, I want skates, and you just saw that there was a pair of skates out there for $300 or something. Do you think, would you have been like, okay, cool, they're cute, I like them, I'm gonna get them? Or do you think you would have been like, is that really, like, let me shop around more?
I think that I, being myself, and we already mentioned that I was type A, like, I would have researched it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I wouldn't have just found those, like, I wouldn't have randomly found those. Like, I would have been looking all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, I'm guessing that I would have figured out, if I was, like, new baby rebel, I would have figured out that you could make your own skates.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It's just, like...
I think it's so fucked up.
Messed up because... Okay, who are these people that just, like, bought all these skates?
The same people that bought all the toilet paper and the antibacterial and then sold it for, like, so much money.
But it's, like, crazy because I'm like, okay, did they see that, like, they already have skates that they're planning on selling, and now they're like...
They had intel.
Times it by 3? Or were they like... Oh, everything's rising. So let me go buy 10 pairs and then I'll up the price. Like, I don't get how it happened.
I mean, the same way that anything happens in, like, a capitalist society. Like, they're banking off of people. Like, demand is high and supply is low. And so because of that, like, the price can be jacked up. And it's just a bunch of people who are benefiting off of, like, poor little... like, new skaters.
Yeah.
Which just sucks major. The worst part is that they're spending, like, $300 or a large amount of money for something that is not going to last them.
They're going to fall apart so fast. They're going to be so upset. And then they're going to, like, research, like, oh, need a new pair of these skates. And be like, oh, these are only $100, $200.
They're going to be so mad.
And they're going to be like, oh, my gosh, I got ripped off. So if you're a new skater or a to-be skater and you're shopping around, I know it's really hard right now, so it's desperate times, desperate measures, and you might be like, I guess I'll just throw all this money down.
But skate companies are catching up at this point, and so hopefully it won't be as much of an issue. Like, I know that there are skates available now, or at least, like, on a shorter wait time than it was before. Definitely. And so, definitely don't buy from...
Just do
people
your
without
research.
Checking how much that skate is worth.
Just do your research. I, like, have seen people that sell their skates that are actual skaters, and they're not upping the price. Yeah. They're even lowering them.
It's not people in the skate community that are doing this. It's people outside the skate community. Yeah, which is especially messed up.
But that's the thing. People don't know that they could reach out to people in the skate community. Yeah. They're just, like, looking on an app for roller skates and seeing what's up instead of, like, reaching out to skaters and be like, hey, I found these skates. Like, do you know if this is a good deal? And I feel like any skater I've crossed would probably be like real honest with you and just be like yes or no. Yeah. Not be like, I don't know, why are you asking me? But I feel like some people just don't know the beauty of the skate community yet and know that we are a fountain of knowledge that share with other people.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of us know where you can get skates too. Mm-hmm. And so talking to one of us is like smart.
Yeah, and like literally, like someone messaged me today, like, do you know where I can get some skates? What do you recommend? So I told him what I recommended, and I was like, I don't know where you can get skates. Like, there's like a couple people that have them, or places that have them, but they're like limited sizes.
It's super hard right now.
It's like, I think people don't understand the severity. Like, people that are already skaters can't even find things for their skates.
Yeah, like, we need stuff for our skates and we haven't been able to find them.
Yeah, I'm all like moving my toe stops back and forth because I'm like
just trying to like make it happen.
Yeah, I'm like, I would like to update my laces, please, but like things are just missing, like
and that's
wheels.
Just what it is now.
Yeah,
and like I feel like the skate. Like, definitely the skate companies were not prepared for this boom in skate sales.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. It's like, do we even delve into like the fact that like, hello, it's a pandemic, and just because you're over the pandemic doesn't mean the pandemic's over us.
And the pandemic is impacting all
it
of
affected literally everything. Like, I think people don't know that like a roller skate has so many parts in it, and it's not
From
just
many
roller
places.
skates. That's like, oh yeah, the roller skate factory doesn't have roller skates. It's the people that build nuts had to shut down because of COVID.
Yeah.
The people that make toe stops had to shut down. The people that make wheels had to shut down. So you have all
People
these
made
companies
boots. Yeah, you have all these
that
different
make things that have to build a roller skate. So it's like you can't be mad at the roller skate people without being mad at the people that make plates. Like, it's not like one warehouse where they're like, we are
we are the roller skate warehouse.
Oh my gosh, what is it called? They have a little flame and they like welders.
Welders?
It's not like a freaking place where they're like sewing a boot and then they're welding a plate and then they're making little. It's not like
that would be wildly.
That's like Santa's warehouse.
That would be ineffective for mass producing for sure.
Yeah, so I think like there's two types of people though. It's like there's the people that are like, oh, I get it, and they'll just wait, and then there's the people that are like, I don't understand, and it's like it sucks because I wish everyone could have their escape.
But I also don't blame them because I think that if I was new to roller skating, I wouldn't understand all of that either. Yeah. If I had just seen roller skating and been like, oh, roller skating looks fun, I'd like to try it, and then just kind of was told you can't have roller skates right now and no one has roller skates, I would be just as confused.
Yeah, I would be bummed. I'd be like, dang. I would like hunt down people that are my size and be like, for real, become my best friend.
So I could borrow your skates. Or you could give me your skates. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what's happening in the wheel world. So don't let yourself get ripped off for roller skates.
Do your research.
It will be worth it, I promise, if you do your research.
A quick Google.
A Google.
Sponsor us, Google.
Google. Are you
Jeeves.
listening? Ask Cha-Cha. Text Cha-Cha.
What?
Cha-Cha?
I don't know that one.
Oh my gosh. Like back when we were in like 6th grade or something. So it was very long time ago. And you could text a phone number, a question, before Ask Jeeves was even a thing. And before AOL was like really prominent.
I didn't know about Cha-Cha.
And you would text Cha-Cha a question and then they would answer you via text message. I tried to sign up to work for Cha-Cha, and I think so. They had a database of answers, kind of like their own little Google. Right now? Yeah, and you got paid like 10 cents an answer. But it was really hard to find the answer because it was all categorized. It wasn't like you type in a search. Yeah. It was like you would go to people or animals or like sports and you would look up the answer and then you would send it back to them.
Interesting.
Yeah, anyways, so Cha-Cha, let us know if you know what that is.
I know that you were like on Cha-Cha looking at answers and I was like on party lines in 7th grade. Like.
Yeah. The different routes and yet we both ended up here.
Opposites attract.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Okay, I think that's the wheel world. Should we move on to our next segment, babe?
I think we should roll on over.
We should roll on over to 2 girls, 1 pup. The segment where we talk about our dog, Bowie.
That was my great idea.
She wanted the podcast to be named 2 Girls, 1 Pup.
Okay, listen. If you lived through what that is a play of words on.
Which is horrible. And
you're probably # triggered right now and are seeing the images play.
It's so... I cannot, 2 girls, 1 pup. I literally want to vomit. Don't talk about it.
So get the pup.
So, okay.
We're not going to talk about it. But when it comes to 2 girls... 1 pup. We're talking about Shovel and Bowie. Can we bring on our guests?
Yeah, Bowie, are you sleeping?
He's probably sleeping because he always sleeps. So Bowie is our French bulldog. He is deaf. We adopted him from another couple, and he is almost 9 years old now?
No, he's almost 8.
Oh, yeah, almost 8 years.
He's not happy.
Old.
He's not happy to be here.
So, hold him to the mic.
Oh, we don't have to. It is picking him up loud and clear.
That is the Bobo.
This is Bowie. He's a French bulldog. If you are not watching the YouTube,
he just laid down on the table.
Let me explain him to you. He is a fawn French bulldog. He looks like a pup, but he is an old man. He's very grumbly and loud. You might hear him snoring in the background. It's because he was napping under the table, and I picked him up and set him on top of the table. He is so needy.
So needy.
And he loves roller skates. His kink is roller skates.
He loves when you hold him and roller skate. He loves roller derby bouts.
He loves when people are roller skating near him.
He's a skate park pup.
He is a skate park pup. He loves being at the skate park with all of the roller skates. He loves our mini ramp in our backyard.
Yes.
He is dropped in.
Yes, he has.
He's very talented.
Very talented. You can't tell right now. He's very cat-like. He loves to lay on desks and tables.
And he sleeps all day, and he does lots of yoga.
Yeah, he's really good at yoga. Hashtag big stretch.
Hashtag big stretch daily. So this is where we talk about...
He's just like, I'm not going to stand. He's just going to lay back down. He's asleep. Yep.
Yep, okay.
That was fun. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the sounds of his grumbling while we talk about how ever since my dad dog sit him the first time, he is now addicted to television.
He is a full-on television addict. Every time we turn on the TV, he waddles right up and just like stares at the TV.
Yeah, he will lay in his bed or sit there or lay there and he just straight up looks up because we have the TV mounted on the wall.
And just stares.
And he looks so entertained. And it's not like it's just like, oh, look, and then looks away. Like, he was
keeps looking.
So into Grey's Anatomy today. It was crazy.
Yeah, he was like... Tell me, Izzy Stevens, what's going to happen?
If anything, he's more awake now when he knows the TV's on.
Yeah. He will bark at dogs that are on the screen.
Oh,
the other day, I put on the movie Cats and Dogs, and he lost his shit the entire time.
Yeah, but specifically with one dog, he was like, I don't like that dog.
It was the cop dog.
Yeah, and he gets this little butt fur that, like, gets all angry.
And, like, poofs up in the back.
Yeah, and then my dad has one of those ridiculous, like, are you, like, big screen TVs that are like, is this a drive-in theater? What are you doing, father? But anyway, so...
Dads.
The second time, the first time he tells us, like, oh, yeah, he's just watching TV. And I'm like, what? And then, like, he was allowed to go on the couch by himself. He was just living it up in this bachelor. He was
literally living his best life.
And then that's when the TV, like, addiction started, but we didn't know how bad it was till the second time my dad dog sit. And my dad told me that, he was like, don't worry, Bowie's okay, but like, there was a dog on TV, and he fully charged at the TV and slammed into, like, the entertainment center.
Yeah.
And I guess he was just, like, stunned, because he literally thought, like, there's a life-size dog in here.
He went full speed into the TV.
And thank God he was fine. But, like, come on, Bobo. You don't know when there's
They're not real.
They're not real, Bobo. Yet, when we've tried to put dog YouTube, yes, that's a thing.
Yeah,
like,
it's definitely a thing.
He's, like, not even into it.
Doesn't care.
But I bet now if we put it on, because he's a full-fledged addict.
I don't think he was actually watching it before. I've put it on for him. I held him in my lap at my desk and, like, put on dog YouTube, and he's watched it. Okay. But then he gets distracted and is like, I'm done. I bet you now.
What if he just likes, like, when people are on TV?
Because
like,
he likes
dogs.
Oh, I don't know.
Because he, like, attacks the dogs.
He doesn't like the squirrels.
Squirrels are boring to him.
Super boring.
But then when there's, like, people on the screen, he's just, like, looking up, like, all, like, eyes big, ears. Okay, this is what tripped me out, though. He was watching it, I swear to the gods and goddesses. He was watching TV, and then his ears were, like, super up and bat-like his attention, like, ooh, something's happening. And then they went back, like, when something happened, like, he understood something was changing, and then he put them back, like, ooh. And I was like, what the heck?
Maybe he senses their, like, emotions.
But he can't hear, so it's not, like, hearing the voices of what's happening, because I was like, it would make sense if
he watches, like, facial expressions.
Oh, and also, Bowie is deaf, but one day I randomly clapped my hands, and I saw him turn, and I was like, wait a minute. So he hears clapping.
Yeah, so that's...
So sometimes, like, we have to twerk, and then he'll come running, because...
Twerk?
Yeah, because the clapping.
Oh, stupid.
And that's 2 girls, 1 pup.
Thanks for coming to 2 Girls, 1 Pup, Bobo. Love you.
Enjoy sleeping somewhere else.
Go back to your bed where you sleep down there now.
He's a good
like,
Bobo.
Thank God. Leave me alone.
All right. So
okay.
Time to roll on over to
our final stop for the day.
Yes.
Which is
OMG.
our Dear Shovel segment. This is where we read your letters and we answer them and we solve your problems. But since this is the first episode, we just put up a really quick Instagram question story.
At 11:30 p.m.
And we said, who has the fastest question? And here we go. So
we have Shay_Bull Terrier on Instagram says,
Dear Shovel, how to deal with a best friend breakup? Oh no. Best friend breakups are the worst. Because best friends know you, like, through and through. And they've been there. They've been there through the good and the bad.
You can go first, babe.
Because you have so much to say on this one.
I think I have so much to say.
Okay, the way to deal with getting over, like, a best friend breakup is just to not have any friends.
Party hard.
No, I mean, okay, so I have gone through a lot of best friend breakups through the years, and I would actually say that that's probably the reason why I don't have, like, one best friend. I have lots of close friends, and I think it's because I'm always scared that someone's going to betray me, which is, like, so sucky, but, like, really the truth is I don't know, like, I don't think that people are gonna love me completely for me and that they're always gonna find someone better that comes along. And so I struggle with, like, really opening up and being really, like, you're my best friend to anyone. And I always think that they always have someone else on the side, because that's exactly what's happened to me in the past. Is I've always had people who, like, are my best friend, but really they were best friends with someone else, and then whoever else that they were best friends with was like, Rebel sucks, you know, and then they were like, yeah, Rebel sucks, and then they left me out to dry, and I was like, that's cool. So I guess that was just a story, and that wasn't how to deal with it. But I guess what you gotta do to deal with it is you gotta see the warning signs as much as you can. I know it's, like, almost impossible to see those warning signs when you're in friendships. But, like, I don't know. This is the worst advice because I don't really know.
BT dub. We probably give really bad advice, but at least it's entertaining.
Yeah, like, I think that, like, my advice would be just, like, protect yourself first. Like, at the first sign of something bad that, like, they're treating you poorly, like, that's, like, strike 1. And, like, I don't know how many strikes they get, but probably not 3. Like, I feel like maybe only 2. Like, on the second strike, like, you shouldn't be treated badly. There's so many people in this world. Like, find someone who's going to treat you well.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know if it's because I'm a Capricorn or that I'm also a Taurus. I don't know why. Maybe it's the way I'm raised. Like, I hold that wall up and I build that wall a brick higher and higher.
You really do.
Each month, year, I don't know. It's gotten better, but I feel like it takes a long time for me to become, like, best friends with someone because, like, they have to break down so many barriers. So I feel like it started with, like, moving, so I didn't have any childhood friends growing up, like, sticking through, like, middle school and high school. So it was, like, abandonment issues, so starting over, having best friends move away, and then feeling like, oh, why get attached again? Then there's the best friends that vanish without a reason. And I feel like those are the worst because you don't have that closure. Like, to this day, there's, like, a group of what were, like, second family to me that sometimes the curiosity of, like, I just want to know what happened exactly, like, eats away at me, and I'm like, should I look for them on social media? But then it's like, do I want to open that door? because like I've had friends that kind of bailed during like the most important times of my life, but those friendships were already kind of fading. Like I've had people that were supposedly my best friends, but were hypocrites a lot of the time. Like they would judge me for doing certain things because like of what they believed in, but then they would turn around and do the same thing or worse things, but it was like a different type of evil, so it was okay. Or like, I don't know, it's just like little, like I feel like if you have a best friend, they're not going to judge you. So there you have that. And then I just feel like the way you kind of get over with it, it's kind of like a death. Like that sounds very morbid.
But you do have to go to the grieving process.
You have to. You'll be in denial and you think everything's fine, and then like there's gonna be anger. Eventually, like and then what's the other one? Bargaining, and then acceptance. So I think after a while, but closure definitely helps. I think you have to have that like last talk, or just be like goodbye sometimes if you can, if it's possible. Like I had a ex-best friend that we had like a full-on intervention with, and she lost her mind and thought we were crazy and not her friend anymore, and things just got weird. And then she met a guy after we stopped being friends, and now they're married and she's sober, and like she got help, which like in our heads we were like, you got mad at us because of this. It was kind of like confusing at first, like you couldn't be our best friend, but then this person got you there. But that's because everyone's on their own journey, and a lot of times we don't know what their journey is. So I think sometimes you have to like step out of this friendship that fell apart and see things from their side too.
Yeah.
Because they probably think you did something wrong. Or maybe you did, you know? There's always confusion, and a lot of times like these friendships end because there's no communication.
Yeah, and I think also it's important to recognize that people are in our lives for a reason and for a time, you know? Like some people will be in your lives for a long time, and then some people will just have like a certain allotment of years or months or weeks.
Just like the seasons.
That they're meant to be with you, and you can learn what you are going to learn with them, and then you recognize, okay, that's over, now I'm gonna move on and like find other people who support my needs, who I can support their needs, because it's also a two-way street, you know? Like your friendships, like they give a lot to you, but you give a lot back, and so you have to recognize like, hey, was this even like a fulfilling relationship if it just kind of like is a breakup at this point, you know?
No, it is, and it's gonna hurt. Like I've definitely cried over losing a friend before.
Cried over losing many friends.
Like you get these bonds, and like a lot of people think like I think like people have friends that are soulmates, because I think you can have more than one soulmate, and sometimes these people that are just like you mesh so well with who you are as a person, and then so when that friendship ends, it does feel like part of you is walking away too. And it's because not just like the shared stories and like things you've done through, like that's the person that was there through the best and worst of times, so that's like a big chunk of your life. So I think the best way to handle it and get better is just like feel those emotions. Try to get closure with them if you can.
Away from those feelings.
Just allow yourself to feel them, like cry it out, be angry, and then accept it and move on, and try your best not to let that affect your future friendships.
And to like recognize the things that didn't work, you know, and try not to have that same thing happen.
Can we just say, if you have lost like multiple best friends over and over again, the common denominator is you, and I'm sorry, boo-boo, but it might be you that's doing, there might be something like you that's wrong.
I can't even tell you the amount of best friends that I lost because of like a weird attraction thing that happened for me. Like it was like people thought I was in love with them, or like they thought I was coming on to them, or they were secretly interested in me and they didn't like the feelings that I brought out in them. And that was like a big thing for me. I think I lost 3 like significant friendships from that, and that was something that like, I don't know, that still hits me in my hurt.
But that's
place.
like, would you say with all female friends?
That was with all female friends.
Because that's like a whole other segment, or because that's like not segment, but that could be a whole other episode.
Topic,
Because it's like you add being a queer woman with having straight friends or even queer.
Or like
they,
questioning friends.
Yeah,
I feel like I attract questioning friends.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
But yeah, female relationships can be hard. All relationships are hard.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah, life is hard. Being a human and interacting with other humans is hard.
Yeah, you just gotta find your people. And sometimes we think we found our people, or they were our people, and then they grew into other. I think that's what's definitely happened with me. Is like people were on the same level as me. Like we're at the same path and we're walking it, and then one person turns into a fork of the road, so you no longer mesh because you became someone else. You blossomed. Like that's why we go through like our party friends, and then you're not a party anymore. Then you have like your friends that are parents like now, and then they're like in that life where they're starting to like nest and stuff.
Yeah.
So like both people are growing, and you might like. I always think it's crazy when some people are like, we've been friends since middle school or since diapers, and you're like, and you still like each other. Like you grew up to be have the same things in common. Not to say you had to have things in common.
I think at that point it's like commitment. You know, like you're so committed.
You're
to
like,
this
I don't
friendship.
even like you anymore, but you've been here since I was.
You're
crawling,
like family.
So.
I feel like you're family at that point.
Yeah,
and you like true. Work through everything together.
I guess I could see that, but yeah, I don't know. That was a long way to just say like, you just gotta feel those emotions and you just gotta move on. And
yeah, and I think recognizing that those people like. If you are dealing with a friend breakup, there's a reason why you're breaking up, and you will probably be better off in the future without them.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Sometimes, like this right now, sometimes I think about, like, how I was a little, like, not to say I'm like anyone now, but, like, when I was literally, like, no one knew me, like, except for, like, the places I went and the same friends. And I wonder about like the friends that like straight up did me dirty or just like are no longer friends. Like I get this sick pleasure of being like, I hope they see me now.
Yeah, like look at me now. I'm blossoming.
Yeah, like I'm doing well. Yeah. Like thank you for what you did, but like just so you know, you could have went on this journey with me. Yeah. And I know that's like part of me is like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Like, but I don't know. I'm only human. And sometimes I think about that. Like, oh, I hope everyone that like wasn't the real one or like didn't think that I could thrive is like, it's like, well, look at me now.
Look at me now.
With the love of my life doing a podcast called Skate Date.
Yes.
Watch them. They're probably trying to get roller skates right now too. I hope they get price gouged.
No, that's mean.
I'm just kidding. Everyone's welcome.
So that wraps up our first podcast.
So thanks for watching this.
Thank you for watching.
First episode of
Skate number 1, Skate Date.
We did it, babe.
Woo! We did it. We did our first episode.
Yeah, so if we didn't scare y'all away, definitely follow, subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to our podcast. Favorite. Do all the things.
Yeah, wherever you listen to your podcast.
That's where we'll be. Yeah. So subscribe there.
Yeah, and give us a little follow on our Instagram.
At Skate Date Pod.
Yes, and you should email us.
If you have questions.
Yeah, well, you should definitely send us any questions that you have about life in general. Skating.
Yeah, and you can email us at dearskatedate@gmail.com if you want us to read your letter and answer your questions and give you horrible life advice.
Yes. And the funnier, the better.
And we're also on YouTube. So if you want to watch us talking, you can see us there too.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere now. Watch out, world. Shovel is here.
Wow.
So thank you so much for being here. We will catch you not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after because we are a bi-weekly podcast.
Woo! When your podcast is bi, just like you.
So cute.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening to the Skate Date.
Hope you're down for a second date.
It's going to be great. You know what happens on date number 2, right?
I get to second base.
We talk about more things.
Oh, boo.
Eargasms.
And that's when we should have ended it. Bye-bye.
Bye.